So when in doubt, just say, let me talk to my manager.
Next, Carvana's 100%.
Still an everyday struggle trying to get fed. Need a spot at the table for my daily bread. Wonder why we thuggin', though we misled. Stop the dog when we trying to break the daily bread. You can't feel the hunger through an op-ed. Don't cover how we suffer for the daily bread. Sometimes that pressure make me feel like I'ma lose my head. To make sure my MCs get their daily bread. Waking up to the traffic in the sunrise. Just another day trying to strategize. Mama running late for work, thinking strike two. Third job this year, cause it's nothing new. Trying to stay in school, trying to learn something. It's hard to get your mind right when your ribs touch. Teacher think I'm mugging, that's just hunger pain. I'm being cinematic, but it's Hunger Games. Try to play it off, mute the suffering. But my stomach break the silence when it's rumbling. So it's quarter cakes, chips, and ramens. Hunger is something 1 in 5 shorties got in common. Hit up corner stores, no fresh markets around. Sustaining from the shelf, no food straight from the ground. Multiply that times all the hoods in my town. We playing in the field, but nobody working the ground. Still an everyday struggle trying to get fed. Need a spot at the table for my daily bread. Wonder why we thuggin', though we misled. Stop the dog when we trying to break the daily bread. You can't feel the hunger through an op-ed. Don't cover how we suffer for the daily bread. Sometimes the pressure make me feel like I'ma lose my head. To make sure my MCs get their daily bread.
Some scrape their bread up from the crumbs left on the table. Sipping pot, licking the ease, that rumbling coming from behind their navel. You're making that bread when you need your own dough. And the sharpest knife in the drawer can get a slice off that loaf. It's the life that I chose, but this life it chose me. You see, my daddy was a soldier and my mama a G. I'm talking integrity, legacy, how to march when I step. If granny cooked it, all you heard was to nothing left. Heard the scrape on the plate, but if you don't work, you don't eat. You gotta earn your own keep. What a man sows is what a man reaps. Daddy took his machete, then he handed to me and said, keep swinging and chopping until the way I can see. Adorn the armor of God when I step on the street, knowing the Lord protected me from my head to my feet. When Daddy took his old machete, then he handed to me and said, keep swinging and chopping until the way I can see my daily bread.
Still an everyday struggle trying to get fed. Need a spot at the table for my daily bread. Wonder why we thuggin', though we misled. It's doggy dog when we're trying to break the daily bread. You can't feel the hunger through an op-ed. We gon' cover how we suffer for the daily bread. Sometimes that pressure make me feel like I'ma lose my head. To make sure my young C's get their daily bread.
What's going on? What's growing on? What is growing on? The B1AG Daily Bread Podcast, Hennry, and we also have Farmer Brian MC, and we're bringing this agricultural news to you from the B1 perspective as it deals with Black agriculture, agriculture production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, all for the black family and the Black community. Now today we have today's topic it centers around the Farm Bill. Now the Farm Bill was created to try to right some of the wrongs done against Black farmers over decades of discrimination that they had to sustain at the hands of USDA. And now we have a group of white farmers in Wisconsin who are suing the Biden administration, claiming anti-white racism because they aren't privy to the benefits of this farm bill. Now, the name of the portion of the bill was the Emergency Relief for Farmers of Color Act of 2021. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the audacity White farmers sued the Biden administration over farm relief, and the USDA did respond. So, Farmer Brown, before we go ahead and dive deep, I do want to go ahead and put up our copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer to Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, now that we got that out the way, I also would like for everyone that's watching, put down in the chat where you're watching from. We'd like to know where your roots are and where you're watching from. So make sure you can put that down in the chat. Farmer Brown, these white farmers are suing the government because of the farm relief set aside for farmers of color to deal with the decades of acknowledged and admitted discrimination that was against them. And these white farmers are mad because they can't get that money. Let's dive deep on this subject.
That's that nerve, huh? In my juvenile voice. First, I just like to say peace to the B1AG family. We had this discussion back in March before this bill was passed, and not to seem like a prophet or anything, but the trick bag. We were discussing how words are very important, and so the bill that we're talking about is the Emergency Relief for Farmers of Color Act 2021, presented by Warnock, Booker, and Stabenow and Lawan. The legal words was to require the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, to provide assistance for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers and socially disadvantaged groups and for other purposes. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm throwing a plug for anybody that has children or youth wanting to get into law some way. We need ag lawyers like yesterday. There was nowhere in this bill that said for black. As a matter of fact, in this 16-page bill, the word black farmer stopped on page 5. And the rest of the pages were socially disadvantaged. Under 2501 program definition, which was the legal classification of socially disadvantaged that was used in this bill, that includes African Americans, which is, we know what we say about that word African American, Indian, Alaskan Indian, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islanders, refugees, and immigrants. Now, those are the legal terms. So when we hear the word socially disadvantaged in this bill, and I would like to also preface that according to John Boyd, nobody has received any money yet. But also another thing, and we're going to get deeper into this. And so first play the video. This is going to be a very interesting topic, and I hope the B1AG family really takes note on how this is not only affecting farmers, but the broader implications for the B1 family.
Program to help some Wisconsin farmers is at the center of a controversy.
A group of white farmers are suing the Biden administration over a COVID-19 relief program. It provides loan forgiveness to minority farmers. CBS 58's Kristen Barbarisi is live with why the farmers say this is unconstitutional. Kristen.
That lawsuit was filed in federal court in Green Bay yesterday. 2 of the 5 farmers suing are from Wisconsin. They say skin color shouldn't be used to determine who gets this assistance. A COVID relief bill passed earlier this year includes $4 billion to a loan forgiveness program for Black and other minority farmers. The USDA says previous COVID relief bills missed these groups. But farmers, including Adam Fost of Calumet County, Wisconsin, are suing, saying white farmers shouldn't be excluded. The conservative law firm, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, is handling the case.
A lot of farmers were impacted by COVID, and it didn't matter what the color of their skin was. The price of milk affects all farmers, regardless of their race or ethnicity.
Lennington says using race to determine who gets the money is unconstitutional.
Our farmers are not asking for their loans to be forgiven specifically. They want the criteria to be race neutral.
John Boyd, the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, says he's been lobbying for debt relief for Black farmers for 30 years.
Under the Trump administration alone, $29 billion was told out to primarily white farmers and corporate farmers in this country. 0.05% went to Black farmers.
Boyd calls this lawsuit disappointing.
If Black farmers were treated with dignity and respect and wasn't being discriminated against, there wouldn't be a need for measures like this.
In a statement, the USDA told me they are reviewing this complaint along with the Department of Justice, but in the meantime, they are going to move forward with this program and handing that money out to those minority groups. Live in Milwaukee, Kristen Barbarisi, CBS 58 News.
They said shouldn't be based on color. And so I can remember back in elementary school, kindergarten, there was no such color as African American. There was no such color as Indian, Alaskan, Asian, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, refugee, or immigrant. But when we're talking legalese, and we know the system, we know we know what we're operating with. I got an idea that they're going to have a case. They said that they'll move forward with this, but it almost reminds me of a good cop, bad cop scenario where we're kind of getting our eyes taken off of the bigger picture of what's going on here. For one, I would challenge anybody to question this bill. If we have any farmers right now who are beneficiaries of this bill, please reach out and let us know. Because to date, I'm asking for a friend. I haven't seen any come across my desk, any sort of applications, any sort of indication of how these farmers are actually going to receive this loan forgiveness. Keyword loan forgiveness. There was no money promised. This money is going to go to these the loan agencies and other agencies that made these loans. And so there's no money per se going in the pockets of the farm. Debt forgiveness is a good thing. And so I'm not just taking that away. But when you do the math of this is going to equate to about 15,000 what we call Black farmers. And not to digress, this is why we need to understand our nationality and our history. I'm not a historian to really know what to call us, but when we have these vague terms on how we refer to ourselves, this has broader legal implications. Mr. Boyd has been on this journey for 30 years. I can only imagine what it would do to your mind, trying to fight this type of mindset that even after you've received everything, you've received free land, you've gotten loans. 40% of farms in North America, the majority of their revenue is coming from subsidies, taxpayer subsidies. And still there are some with the audacity to sue. I try not to make my head bust thinking about these things, but I do think this is a great opportunity for us to have a conversation. What if this is what reparations is going to look like? I tend to think the tinfoil kufi had on for a little bit tends to think that this was a test for reparations. Now, how will these melanated Black, however we want to call ourselves, people respond to this? And what we saw in March when this was released, we saw a lot of headlines. Black farmers finally get relief. Black farmers finally get justice. The other day when Biden was giving his congressional address, he said the word white supremacy. And there are people that jumped up and down. Oh, man, they're addressing it. I know some people, when you was in school, there were bullies. They beat up. Yeah, man, I beat your ass. I kicked your ass, didn't I? I acknowledged I kicked your ass, but that didn't unkick your ass. And so the point I'm making, we have to be very conscientious about the celebrations we have, and even more so when we tie this to agriculture, specifically what we'll call Black farmers. We have to come up with some way to not only support the Black farmers that exist, but how do we make sure that there is a replacement force of Black farmers that are more savvy, that have legal protection, that have community support? When we talk about reparations, so you got to understand that there will be a faction of people that, well, it's not fair to just give somebody, reparations because something was done wrong. My family, immigrants, once again, this word immigrant, people immigrate from everywhere around the world. We have this visual in our head that immigration is just limited to brown countries. Africa, South America, Central America. There's immigrants from everywhere. There's immigrants from Russia. There's immigrants from Ireland, Switzerland, England. So when you basically, once again, we really have to have a codified approach to what it is we're doing as a B1 community to not only support, but to be able to support something, you have to learn it. And this is why we have these conversations. None of us have the answers, but the answer I do know is if we can't support our own and if we don't value our own, it'll be decimated.
Now, what I would like to read for the B1AG family is the actual bill. Now, this is what it says in the actual Farmers of Color relief bill. This is exactly what it says. Congress finds that various factors have contributed to the loss of Black farmers, indigenous farmers, and farmers of color in the United States, including mass and systematic loss of farmland owned and operated by minority farmers, institutional civil rights violations by the federal government, difficulties accessing debt and credit capital, and other legal challenges that make it difficult for minority farmers and farm workers to participate in the United States farm economy. A 2019 Government Accountability Office report found that socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers have more difficulty getting loans and credit from the Department of Agriculture, which can help beginning farmers break into the business and help existing farmers continue to run their operations. It's laid right out in black and white why this $4 billion was set aside for Black farmers. And yet they still find a way to try to sue. And that's why the audacity, that's like me trying to sue SNAP or food stamps for single mothers or families getting food assistance, and I'm not because I don't have any kids. It wasn't meant for me. This was not meant for me. You know what I'm saying? So how can I be upset about something that was not meant for me? And the whole bill was a $1.9 trillion bill. Only $4 billion was set aside for Black farmers for debt relief, not money being handed to them. And this is also debt relief that has not, to this day, even though the bill was passed, no, as far as it's been, no farmers have received any debt relief yet.
Once again, it's this Hegelian dialectic, this versus that. We have to be able to control our narratives. Whenever we're at the will of any other group, it does, it transcends color. When you're at the group of any group that has an interest, Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about the definition of racism. It's not if somebody likes you or not. There is a race for resources and power. And so when we find ourselves arguing about, well, I thought it was for this group versus that, what we're getting away from is nobody's about to be handed anything. And then we're getting into, okay, since the gray crayons got their wax broken, then we're going to give the orange markers and the purple color pencil. Do you see how the words are changing? In the same sentence, I mean, I thought it was for this group, then it turns into that group, then it turns into that group. And so we find ourselves going back and forth. And next thing we know, and this is what happened with the Pickford and Glickman case, not necessarily with the words, but this concept of kicking the ball down the road while people are going back and forth. I remember back when I was 16, I worked at the Rupp Arena. They had wrestling come down. We were selling concessions. And I remember one of the wrestlers, I forget his name, we were down there talking with him. He's like, man, how are y'all able to, y'all are traveling together. How are y'all not beating each other up? He's like, man, we're back there playing cards together. This is a big show. And so once again, as a B1AG family, as to not give people too much power, I don't believe in giving people free space in my brain. Why, what will it take for us to come up with a codified strategy to address this? whether these farmers get debt relief or not, what can we do to make sure they have revenue coming in? Because all of us have to eat. Pretty much all of the products that these farmers are producing are something that people consume. It's funny to me. I'm not going to say it's funny, but ag as a whole right now in America, mainstream agriculture is very dependent upon China and all of these other nations, not colors, nations that are buying. Like 60% of the pork gets sold to China. And so if China decides, for example, that we don't want to deal with America no more, there's going to be a lot of farmers that are disrupted. And so how do you think that is going to affect black farmers who are already having this problem of trying to break into markets? This is why, once again, we can't stress it enough. We try to, through repetition, we have to support our own and not just support, oh, I'm going to buy a cute little basket. You know, that's one step. It's just meeting the farmer. Step two is what kind of protections are we putting in place just in case these farmers in Wisconsin win this or they're able to drag this out. What's to say that the Biden administration says, okay, well, you know, since we're deliberating on it, we said we're going to move forward on it. But how many things have been told that never happened? Right now, Black Lives Matter is sending a list of demands to the Biden administration with no response. You can't move from a place of weakness. Right now, when we're waiting on somebody who historically has discriminated to decide to not discriminate, that puts us in a zone of waiting. Agriculture, any of the farmers or producers watching those, this is a seasonal thing. This is a very time-sensitive operation. And so, okay, you told me in March that there was going to be something coming to me. If I was one of the few farmers, 15,000 out of the other socially disadvantaged that qualify for this, okay, I'm not going to start my operation because the government told me that they're going to give me some debt relief. And so then I can go out and get my equipment, my seeds, get everything started. But the money hasn't even come yet. And we're into May. And so what happens is, and this is the same thing historically our ancestors dealt with. This is why a lot of people lost land based on waiting on the government to do the right thing. And so, you know, I'm not here going on an anti-government rant, more so than how do we negotiate acts like this from a place of power? Because guess what? What if we had a community that, regardless of if this is passed or not, regardless if this was implemented fairly, our farmers are cool, because it ain't nothing but 33,000 of them. It ain't nothing but 33,000 black farmers left. Obviously, all of them aren't producing vegetables and fruit. Matter of fact, 48% are producing livestock, cattle. This is where the majority of black farm revenue is coming from, is livestock and cattle. A lot of people eat hamburgers. A lot of people drink milk. A lot of people eat cheese. Are we investing in infrastructure to make sure these farmers aren't getting left out when it comes to processing, dressing the meat? Are we making sure that, okay, maybe these, because these, when you break down the amount of money, I done been to strip clubs and seen like hundreds of thousands of dollars just floating around. Just, you need 100,000 ones to the VIP. And, you're left with a good time. That's great. The sisters there, able to take care of themselves. But when we talk about what are some codified strategies to make sure we can at least eat, make sure we're at least supporting the few farmers that's left, the few agricultural warriors who've been able to fight this fight. Because I can tell you, if we don't do something as a community to support them, I would never say give up, but you can throw reparations out of the window. If we go for this as a community, if we fall into this dynamic, oh, that's messed up that y'all are suing, and not take action, we have every right to be, frustrated, like, wow, the audacity of these people to do it. But after this frustration, what is the collective action item? And once again, that goes to support. Well, man, I ain't got a lot of money. I'm living check to check. Okay, do you got kids? Because most of us got kids. Are you getting some of these kids out learning how to garden first? And so by the time they're 10, 15 years old, at this rate we see happening where, we keep taking these losses, are they going to be able to help somebody who's able to keep their farm? Are they going to become useful? Are they going to be able to go to, if they're going the school route, are they going to be able to go to these institutions and understand how to take this information and bring it back to the community? Are you somebody that's just into investing? Okay, I really don't want to grow anything, but I want to invest. I want to help. We need infrastructure. These farmers need infrastructure. We need capacity to transport goods. Because once again, we're dependent on people that, I imagine that these farmers in Wisconsin aren't a minority. You think about the protests last summer. I mean, we've already, I think in North Carolina, we see how many brothers and sisters are getting shot right now. And so you can pretty much predict that there's going to be a lot of contention this summer protesting. How are we going to respond to this as it keeps going on? What if somebody says, well, I don't like y'all protesting, so I'm gonna just cut your food off? How do we respond to that? Continuously getting upset? Continuously asking for somebody to change their mind about something that was intentional? Let us remember that this whole case that we're talking about with the USDA, that was intentional. That wasn't accidental here and there, maybe this office. No, that was a codified strategy. That was a code. That wasn't accidental. That wasn't happenstance. And when we think about compensatory logic, that means whatever code has worked against you, you have to develop a code to counter that. And that's not racism. We're not in a position to be racist, y'all. We've allowed all of these people to run laps around us when it comes to agricultural production for the sake of this conversation. But once again, anything else we're talking about, social, political, if we're not eating, guess what? Somebody always has the power to push a button and cut that water off. What are we prepared to do if this turns into what the reparation argument is going to look like?
Now, Vilsack has responded to this lawsuit. Now, Tom Vilsack is the Agricultural Secretary for the United States Department of Agriculture. And I personally was very, very surprised at his answer, pleasantly surprised at that. I just wanted to read to you some of the things that he said. This is Tom Vilsack. I think you have to take it back 20 or 30 years when we know for a fact that socially disadvantaged producers were discriminated against by the United States Department of Agriculture. We know this, he said. He said those cumulative effects have benefited white farmers by giving them access to USDA technology and programs, as well as investment opportunities that allowed their farms to flourish and grow. If I had limited access or no access to USDA programs, obviously my operation significantly limited, Vilsack said. So the American Rescue Plan's effort to begin to address the cumulative effect of that discrimination in terms of socially disadvantaged producers, he added. Secondly, when you look at the COVID relief packages that have been passed and distributed by the USDA prior to the American Rescue Plan, and you look at who disproportionately received benefits of those COVID payments, he said, it's pretty clear that white farmers did pretty well under that program because of the way it was structured. It's structured on size, it's structured on production. He lays it right out there, y'all. He puts it all on the table. Yeah, the USDA, we participated in systematic discriminatory practices against farmers of color, black farmers, for decades. It has been unchecked, and these are just a small step towards trying to counter that, to make it right. And then you have white farmers mad because they can't get this relief, loan relief, that they said they don't even really want. They're just challenging it. They don't even want it. The audacity. The audacity. They're playing word games with us, y'all. But my whole thing is, it's like, where is the outrage? For far too long, our black farmers have had to fight this on their own. There's no support. There's no support. Where's I understand that Black Lives Matter. Farmers' lives matter too. Where's that groundswell of support for the frontline people that are to feed us? We need this support. We need this. They need this support. We need to do it for ourselves. We have to strengthen. This is why it's important. Like, why it's important to build and support the Black agriculture community and food system. It's for our own. It's for our own survival. It's for our own protection. It's for our own health. What say you, Farmer Brown?
Well, where's those allies? You know, the people are around to help bust windows and tear down businesses. But, you know, where's the backlash against these farmers? You know, where are the allies that are saying, now, how dare y'all do this? You know, once again, it's like the bullies say, oh, yeah, I beat you up so bad. Oh, man, I cut your leg off. Oh, you can't even walk, man. It's crazy how I just chopped your leg off. Now, did you buy a prosthetic limb? If after chopping my leg off, I'm not able to work, are you going to make sure that I'm compensated? And we never get past that point. We celebrate somebody saying that I did something to you. Like I said, I hear a lot of word salad going on with this story. You know, I saw it come out last week, and it was one of those things where I can't believe this. Okay, what else is going to come from it? And so there's a power in honesty. There's a power in honesty. And so once somebody's been honest with you about something, once again, as a community, even as individuals, we got to ask ourselves now, okay, I know this, now what? What am I going to do? What can I do? What are the implications of my family? Maybe I'm selfish. But wow, if this group gets decimated, which represents a lot of the wealth holders, and, you know, land is wealth. You know, land is universally a sign of wealth. We know Black farmers only have 0.5% of the land, only own 0.5% of the land. These loans that they weren't getting, this is a part of making your land productive. It would be great. You know, I was raised like, if you don't need a loan, don't get it. And I realized just in our community alone, what is it, 46 million of us, we all eat. We all have needs that in some point in time, we buy products that are developed on a farm. And there's only 33,000 farmers. You know, we're not on here being pie in the sky like, yeah, you don't got to shop with another farmer of any color. Black, black, black. That's not what we're saying. What can we do to make sure our Black farmers are competitive in any weather, in any sort of situation, under any administration? How do we, you know, these articles are great. These feel-good articles, the clicks and likes and shares are great. But how is this going to equate to protecting these farmers who still haven't gotten this debt relief yet? Like I said, we're in May. The farmers that have gotten the relief last year, guess what they were able to do early this year? Get their operations started. Like I said, immigrants come from everywhere around the world other than what we call North America. And so we really have to, you know, it boils down to self-love. You know, these Black farmers are a part of us, whether we know them personally or not. This is a part of our culture. This is a part of our legacy. This is a part of our community. The powers, some days say the powers that shouldn't be are well aware. Okay, well, if they'll let this go, because this is the production class of them. If they'll celebrate this as a win, then I don't even really need to entertain reparations. I just keep giving them headlines. I give them a couple of faces on TV, say, yeah, we overcame. And then flood headlines with something else to divert their attention. We got to keep our eye on the ball, people. There has been progress being made. And so we're not on here, doom and gloom, the sky is falling. There has been progress made. There's a lot more conversations going on publicly and behind the scenes about, okay, what can we do to create this ag code? But it's upon each of us in our respective field of expertise, our ability to support, whether financially, whether through just connecting the right people, whether, volunteering at some of these farms, volunteering at your local community garden, conducting educational workshops for ag, for youth. Something that is moving towards a productive outcome of us being food secure, for one. You know, if nothing else, nobody's going to just get rich overnight, going into farming, but we have to look at the future of what wealth building entails. Ag is a big piece.
And it definitely is a process. That's why agriculture goes through seasons, and it's a measured it's measured amounts of work over time. So there definitely is a process involved, but we definitely, as a community, as a family, need to ingratiate ourselves in this process immediately. And when we do take part, go at it full steam, whether it's just producing for yourself or producing enough for others. I would like to play for you some of the USDA's response towards this bogus, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, this bogus lawsuit. Like I said, these farmers don't even want they don't even want loan relief. They're just mad because they can't get it. They're mad over something that they can't get, but they don't want nor need. How audacious is that? We'll bring up this video for y'all.
Farmers last week sued over the a COVID loan forgiveness program, arguing that it's unfair to them because they're white. Your reaction to that lawsuit, and do you stand by the program's structure?
It's a great question. I appreciate it. I think I have to take you back 20, 30 years when we know for a fact that socially disadvantaged producers were discriminated against by the United States Department of Agriculture. We know this. We have reimbursed people in the past for those acts of discrimination, but we've never absolutely dealt with the cumulative effect. And by cumulative effect, I mean this. When I have the full advantage of all the USDA programs throughout the last 30 years, my operation could grow. I could invest in more land. I could get the latest and best technology. I could plant my crop at just the right time. I could make more money. If I had limited access or no access to USDA programs, obviously my operation significantly limited. So the American Rescue Plan's effort is to begin addressing the cumulative effect of that discrimination in terms of socially disadvantaged producers. Secondly, when you look at the COVID relief packages that had been passed and distributed by USDA prior to the American Rescue Plan, and you take a look at who disproportionately received the benefits of those COVID payments, it's pretty clear that white farmers did pretty well under that program because of the way it was structured. It's structured on size and structured on production. So I think there is a very legitimate reason for doing what we are doing. I think it has to be complemented with additional steps, which the American Rescue Plan provides, an equity commission to take a look at whether or not there are systemic barriers that need to be removed at the department, and also taking a look at how we might be able to create better technical assistance, better access to land, better access to markets for socially disadvantaged producers and for local and regional food production. So we're going to continue to proceed forward. Understand that litigation is going to be what it is, and we'll obviously have the Department of Justice and others do what they do. But in the meantime, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is going to move forward with that effort.
Thank you, Secretary Vilsack. You've just outlined the plans for the ARP funds through the fall to deal with some of the issues around hunger. How long do you anticipate those funds will last, particularly given that next year's school year will be unique, coming off of a year where most schools have been closed for the better part of the year? And will you need more funds from Congress to address this?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why the president proposed the American Families Plan as a continuation and as allowing us to basically cement and make more permanent the gains that we've seen from the American Rescue Plan. In the meantime, we have worked with schools, understanding they're faced with a lot of uncertainty about the upcoming school year. And so we have already decided that we have available resources to be able to provide for universal free lunch for schools throughout the 21-22 school year. And that will extend, I think, until the end of June 2022. With the passage of the American Families Plan, we would then have the summer EBT program to provide additional support and help. And that would give us, I think, enough lead time for school districts to be able to adjust back to what the new normal will be. In the meantime, we'll be looking at hopefully the use of the pilot under the American Families Plan to see if there are ways in which we can incent additional nutritional value for those meals, and we'll be using, hopefully with the passage of the American Families Plan, a more targeted effort in high poverty schools, elementary schools, to expand universal free meals.
Now, there it is, y'all. He laid it out for you. Now, I think in my mind, the reason why he had to just be honest and lay it out like that is because he has these white farmers suing him. So to avoid this type of litigation, it only makes sense to go ahead and tell the truth. This is what it is. This is what's going on. Basically, without saying so, he's calling their lawsuit bogus and without merit, which it fully is. It's bogus and without merit. But at the end, he was talking about making fresh produce available for the schools and things like that. And I think that's where a major opportunity lies for us in the B1 family. If we get these seeds in the ground and get to producing, we can get fresh food. That's another open market for Black farmers and Black producers to get their produce, their products sold, selling it to along with those subsidy dollars, providing food for the school system, and as well as all the SNAP programs and things of that nature. So, Farm Brown, what do you have to say about this? Bill Sack just laying it out, man.
There's a power in truth. Now that you know, are you ready to grow?
Heard that. Well, this is definitely a great topic. Looking forward, we have these discussions and conversations. They're very important. We do advocate you farming for yourself, but we also advocate for more producers on a larger scale as well for the B1 family, because we need to be fed. We need to make sure that we do receive our daily bread. Far too many of us are food insecure. We live in food deserts. A lot of great food and produce is just not available to us as we continue to eat off the shelf instead of out of the ground. So we're eating a lot of foods with preservatives and salts and things that are contributing to so many health factors that are killing everyone in our community: cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, all these are foodborne illnesses that can be reversed and fixed just with a healthy diet. This is a conversation we're going to continue to have when it comes to Black agriculture. Please, if you can, if you have any questions or pictures of your own grow operation, no matter how small it is, if it's just a cup or whether it's a pot or whether it's a whole plot, take pictures of your operation and you and your loved ones, tending to your garden, tending to your growth. And we definitely would love to highlight it here at B1AG. And also, we have partnered with Dr. Boyce Watkins, and we'd like to help you get Black to the garden. You can sign up at healthyblackfood.com, and you can learn how to grow your own food. And also, if you use the promo code podcast, you will also receive a discount. It's a great opportunity for you to go ahead and get started, get your shovels in the ground, get the seeds in the ground, and get to growing, because this is something we needed to do not yesterday but last week. we're behind, but the more seeds and shovels we get in the ground, we can gain ground on being food secure as well as securing our own self-sufficiency. And this is very important. And again, you can go ahead and go to healthyblackfood.com and sign up for our class to help you learn how to grow your own food. And again, use the promo code podcast and you will receive a discount. And this is a great gift from the B1AG, Black Boss Network, Dr. Boyce Watkins, and the Black Business School. It's a great opportunity. So Farmer Brown, I know I would like to see more outrage over the disparities that these Black farmers are facing, but it's more productive, it's to save the outrage and just move forward positively and rectifying the wrongs, making it right. So that's what we're gonna do. We can save the outrage. I save my energy for the praise of the harvest. But as we end every show, Farmer Brown, if they really want to know something, what do they need to do, Farmer Brown?
All we got is us. Learn to love each other and learn how to grow something.
Y'all heard it. I'd like to thank you for another, sitting with us through another episode of the B1AG the Daily Bread podcast. I hope y'all are prosperous. I hope your growth is stupendous. I hope that you're preparing for a bountiful harvest and get some sunshine on your face today and soak up as much as you can. Till the next time, I'd like to say goodbye, but we'll see you soon. Peace out.